plan tonight?
Get high, get laid, and try not to puke on my fucking shoes.
Tonight, we're looking at some AI-generated content you won't believe. Welcome back, family. Thank you to all the channel members for support. If you guys are seeing this video right now, remember to like it, subscribe, hype it up so it gets pushed to more people. This is a big disclaimer. This video is actually one of the most creepy videos I've actually seen. And a lot of you guys may be thinking like,
AI videos, they aren't real. They probably won't be that scary.
If I'm being honest, these are way more scary than a lot of the videos that I've actually watched on this channel previously. If I get 100 AI comments, I'll make another video. Type AI in the comments, and just for reference, the longer you watch, each video gets more and more intense. But strap in, because this one is crazy. Let's go!
Easy. Drop the stakes for me.
I've got the bag ready.
Come on, pal, let him go.
Here,
there we go. Thank you. All right, second one.
Both stakes secure.
Stakes are evidence, okay? Come on, partner, let's head outside.
Sirloin, huh?
Appreciate it.
Day one at KFC, got the uniform, got the name tag, feeling official. Let me show you around. Back here is the heart of it all, the fryers. They just pulled a fresh batch of original recipe. My job is turning these guys and making sure they come out crispy. Let's show them how it's done. Lead the way.
We're right behind you. Yeah.
Watch this strut. These heels feel better than my sneakers.
You're killing it. Work it, Jake.
Catwalk mode activated.
I can't with you right now.
We run this mall. Fact.
I gotta tell you something that's been eating me alive. I haven't taken a shower in 5 years. 5 years, man. I know how that sounds. And the weirdest part, I love it. I love how I smell. I love being dirty. It's like this cloud. Guys, the sun's out. We got the colors flying, and I'm feeling good. This is all about love. Love for yourself, love for each other. Every single person, no matter who you are or who you love, you deserve to shine just like this flag behind me. So keep being you. Keep to tell you all something that's important to me. I'm gay, and I'm proud of it. Check these out. Rainbow boxing gloves. Can't get more me than this. I even matched the makeup for it. Feels good to finally breathe and be myself. Thanks for showing. Now, little house, shadows creep and crawl. Moonlight's silver mouth hears you when you close your eyes. Don't make a sound. Footsteps soft on
6, 7! 6, 7! 6, 7! 6, 7! 6, 7!
Dude, these Jake Paul prompts are going around TikTok right now. They are the funniest thing of all time.
You think you'd survive the 60s? Girl, let me show you something.
My doctor gave me pills for energy. I haven't blinked since Tuesday. Now I'm seeing ghosts, and they love how clean the floor is. I pick paint like I pick wine. No research, just vibes and a coupon. I don't leave the house without full makeup. Not for work, not for jail, not even for the apocalypse. Flying in the 60s? Oh, darling, it was glamorous. We had silverware, champagne, and zero rules. I came to a doctor with chest pain. He handed me a cigarette and said, let's talk about it. Our phone line was shared. So when I flirted too hard, someone mailed me a Bible. Kid seat? Oh, honey, it was a shiny metal throne with no seatbelt. But it looked adorable. We'd sit in the sun, eat sandwiches, and sometimes forget our names for a few hours. Good old times.
But you know what? It was iconic.
That kind of proves that to this day, the things that they tell us that are safe, we still don't really know if they're really safe. For example, they said they had lead in paint back then. It's crazy.
They're gonna burn me anyway, so I conjured a phone from the future. Say hi.
Burn the witch! Burn the witch! Burn the witch! Burn the witch! Burn the witch!
So I guess that's an AI prompt of what it would have been like on 9/11. Someone asked the AI how the pyramids were built, and this is what it came up with.
What's life like for you right now?
Woke up, stepped in dung, got taxed, and that was before breakfast.
Do you enjoy your work?
Ah, yeah. It's honest work, and no one talks back.
What do you think of King Henry?
Oh, well, he's very committed to marrying.
How's the health situation looking?
Well, everyone I saw yesterday is dead today. So,
how do you respond to the witch accusations?
If I were a witch, you'd already be a frog.
What's the biggest challenge for a noblewoman these days?
3 hours to get dressed, and still no pockets.
how's business?
Flour shortage, the oven is cursed, and rats. Lots of rats. What's life like for a farmer right now?
Hard work, sore back, but the soil's good this year. Might even eat something with meat next week.
How you know saying usually crown, nigga?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of really like the AI prompts where they show what's going on in the past, like, you know, the Pompeii one, the 9/11 one. There was one I think about Rome and the Egyptians. Like, those to me are really cool. I kind of like that. Remember, 100 comments that say AI and I'll make another one of these videos.
What's the plan tonight?
Get high, get laid, and try not to puke on my fucking shoes.
How's your trip, dude?
I just told God to shut the fuck up so I could hear the grass.
Why'd you do it? Figured I'd show the government my ass before they fuck it again.
You missed the war?
I miss knowing who the fuck the enemy was.
What's the key to a good night?
Coke, a mirror, and not remembering who I came with.
Why do you love your car? Guilty electrical fire.
Because it's fast, loud, and doesn't talk back like my ex did.
Why are you protesting?
Because I'm fucking tired of watching boys come home in boxes.
That was prompt theory. If it made you think, blink, or crack a smile, go ahead and like and follow.
The Titanic's voyage ended over a century ago, but its ghosts remain within its sunken halls. Beneath the waves, their haunting whispers drift through the shattered corridors, echoing dreams stolen by the sea.
I can't find my family. 1, 2, 3. See something cool. One, 2, 3.
Now you stay here while I go say hi to Miss Dan, okay? Okay.
Good morning, Mom.
Good morning.
everybody go?
Why don't you go take a nice bath?
Ashley?
In the bath.
But I found...
Now.
Dad?
That's not your mother anymore. Run outside and call for help.
Joshua!
I got you. You're safe.
Please. Please, 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 please. No, no. No, no.
Honestly felt like the singing in the background was way more creepier than that actual video. You see this at your door at 3 a.m. in the morning. What are you doing?
Hey, I would like to kiss you on the mouth. And so what do you, how do you feel? What do you think about that?
After allegedly examining brain waves during a sleep study, AI generated its interpretation of a nightmare the subject had.
Residents are urged to stay indoors tonight as authorities continue the search for at least one unidentified creature reported in the Oakswood neighborhood. Police advise locking windows and doors and calling 911. message. An unidentified anomaly is at large in the county. Stay indoors, lock all doors and windows. If it gains entry to your home,
Hey, come a little closer. I have a surprise for you.
Hello, hello. What a nice surprise. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Bruh, even AI saying aliens built the pyramids. And I told you, for some reason, all those AI videos were just unnecessarily creepy as hell. Generally creepier than a lot of videos that I've actually watched.
Your chicken's looking nice, pal.
Woo! Yo, he stole my chicken!
Got a crispy treasure, can't slow me down. Hot and golden, I'm out of this town. Move, move, Friday victory.
Well, get back here.
Run, spin, slide, I'm gliding out the door. Fried love in my arms, can't give it up no more. Hey!
Live, I'm out here on the lake with the man himself. He's about to show y'all something wild.
Peace to you. Watch the
Yo,
water.
look at that. It's changing, y'all. That's not a
A
filter.
little toast for the world.
Bro, it's straight up wine. We're walking on it.
People told me not to have the roof down, but you know what I told them? Dab on the haters. Ha!
I have a dream that I'm never gonna give you. I'm never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you.
Have you heard the good news? Taco Bell has Baja Blast back in stock. Blessings.
Jeff, we need to talk. Open up.
Whoa, didn't expect that.
Dispatch, we're gonna need, I don't even know what. We've got an elephant in the freezer on.
How the hell did it even get in there?
I don't know, but it's wedged good. Frame's twisted around his shoulders.
We can't pull it back. If we cut the case, it might. Park! Keep your hands on the wheel! You almost sideswiped 3 cars back there. Put it in park! Now!
Young man, don't move. Doors locked.
Open it right now!
So what exactly are we dealing with here? This technology is thousands of years ahead of us, and I don't think you quite understand what we're really up against. We recently had another UAP hearing in September 2025. Guess that's just a yearly thing now, where US House representatives, former and active military personnel, and other government whistleblowers once again testified before Congress under oath, which means if they're lying, they go to jail. Stakes are high. And they really spilled the tea on this one, which our mainstream news just refuses to cover. And I'm warning you, this might be a little disturbing, because they revealed how insanely advanced these UAPs really are, making our modern day military technology look like sticks and stones in comparison. If these things decide they don't like us, we are so cooked. With active duty Navy officers speaking on countless reports of flying objects coming out of the ocean and moving in ways and at speeds that defy physics. We've heard all that before, but this is the video from the hearing that everyone was talking about and no one has been able to explain it, showing POV footage from an MQ-9 drone tracking an unknown orb moving at ridiculous speeds off the coast of Yemen on October 30th, 2024. This is what an MQ-9 drone is, by the way, basically a remote-controlled airplane. And while it's tracking this orb, another MQ-9 drone off-screen fires a Hellfire missile towards it. For reference, this is what a Hellfire missile looks like in action. Yeah, it does some damage. But strangely enough, when the missile makes contact with the orb, it kind of just bounces right off and continues on without detonating. And the orb itself just kind of loses balance for a bit while continuing to travel at these high speeds. But the really weird part is this debris that appears to have fallen off the orb from the missile impact that just continues to travel alongside the orb at these same insane speeds, which some are attributing to some form of advanced magnetic or gravitational technology that holds all pieces of the craft together even when they're separated. After wobbling for a bit, the UAP regains control and goes right back to cruising along, flicking away a military-grade Hellfire missile like a fly and going along like nothing even happened. This is more than a little concerning. If our cutting-edge military technology can't stop what's probably just a recon drone, what's gonna happen when they bring in the whole fleet? Our military has known this for decades and is why they didn't want this information public. They have no idea how to defend against these, and admitting that to the world would likely cause mass panic. The panel also held George Knapp, a known ufologist who admits he has heard of these incidents before, but this was his first time actually seeing it on video, and also says that all the UAP videos that have been made public so far are just the tip of the government's full archive, and what they're not showing us is far more terrifying than anything we've seen so far. Knapp goes on to explain a classified Soviet incident that happened in 1982 where UFOs popped up over an ICBM missile base in Russia, where they hovered around the base, split apart, fused together, and a bunch of other crazy maneuvers for over 4 hours. When all of a sudden, the launch control codes for the ICBM missiles at that base lit up, meaning they were engaged and ready to launch. And the only way to do so is if you had the codes, which are supposed to be top secret. No one at the base authorized this, and the Soviet officers also couldn't shut it down. They panicked for a bit, not sure what to do, but eventually the UAPs left and the missiles disengaged. A technical internal post-analysis of this event didn't find any errors or malfunctions at the facility on this day, which means these UFOs can control our planet's missile defense systems whenever they want, and there was nothing we could do about it. It almost came off as a sort of message from them, like, hey yo, this is what we can do, don't f with us. And so we proceeded to f with them. As we see in this thermal image video that came out a few years ago, this one wasn't from the recent hearing, where a swarm of unknown glowing orbs showed up outside a military base in Afghanistan in 2011, which were also shot at by missiles, except these were completely unaffected. They just ate the missiles like they were nothing and remained perfectly still. No one can explain how they did this. These orbs are like indestructible. When switching to standard vision, we see the orbs glowing, pulsating in pink, orange, and yellow, moving in formation at extraordinary speeds. And we have no idea what these were. And again, these are just the videos that have been released or leaked to the public. As mentioned in the hearing, the vast majority of the videos are still hidden and highly classified, and apparently much more concerning than anything we've seen so far, with even more official Air Force testimonies who reveal seeing a massive football field-sized triangular UAP that appeared in the sky above a critical launch site before shooting off at impossible speeds. Just try to imagine aircraft larger than a football field hovering completely silent above your head and then zipping away faster than our physics allows. These are real testimonies by real military personnel. We have no no idea what in the f we're up against here. And the most disturbing part is when Air Force veteran Dylan Borland revealed how they actively silenced and threatened him from talking about what he saw. That after he reported the UAP sightings he witnessed at Langley Air Force Base in 2012, the higher in commands intentionally tried to ruin his life, experiencing professional sabotage, explicitly being told not to speak of what he saw, getting harassed by supervisors, and denial of future work opportunities, creating a stigma of being crazy around anyone who speaks out about this to discredit the sightings and prevent this information from being made public knowledge. These UAP hearings give us the transparency and the witness protection to the whistleblowers so that we, the people, can know what is happening. And to the best of our knowledge, these UAPs are not ours or anyone's on this planet. No visible propulsion system, no fuel tanks, no wings, rotors, or tails, and we have no idea how they fly or operate. And now they're apparently indestructible as well, and the fact that they're not retaliating is almost even more concerning. Like, are they waiting for something? Are they just that friendly that they don't care when we shoot missiles at them? Or are they gonna wake up one day and decide they don't like us?
I think instead of missiles, we should 100% try lasers. I feel like lasers would work way better.
Oh, hell no. What the fuck is happening, bro? Hey, we out of this hole! We out of this hole! We out of this hole!
1st of January, 2024. A large force of police officers surrounded one of the shopping centers in Miami. All the people panicked. As various information was published by the media, members of local gangs start fight in the shopping center. Other sources said a group of children used fireworks at the mall. But after some time, a more mysterious version spread. And there was a witness from the shopping center itself. There was people who panic when they see several dark, 10 feet high creatures.
I was watching this documentary today. It's a new James Fox documentary about a UFO landing in Brazil in 1996. Holy shit, it's incredible. I had no idea that there's a city called Varginha in Brazil, and in 1996, according to everyone who was there, according to medical records of people who were there, they blocked off, the military came in, cordoned off the area, they recovered a crashed UFO. And there was living creatures that people came in contact with, and one of them was this tiny little thing that this guy carried, and he carried it to wherever they were going to examine it. And when he carried it, he got whatever was on its skin. It had like a slippery kind of skin. It got into his body and infected him, and he wound up with this horrible general infection. He wound up dying. His body shut down. His immune system shut down. His body didn't know what the fuck to do with this alien thing that he was interacting with. There's real records of this guy contacting this thing, grabbing it, carrying it in. All these people witnessed it, and then this guy winds up with this insane infection shortly thereafterwards. That's all documented too, all of his medical records.
Now this video footage has been going crazy viral. Just yesterday, a UFO sighting has stunned alien experts as it hangs above the capital city of Pakistan for about 2 hours in broad daylight. One eyewitness said, "I filmed it for 12 minutes at different times, took dozens of pictures and observed it for the best part of 2 hours. To the naked eye, it seemed like a black round rock, but as I zoomed in, I could see that it was roughly the shape of a triangle with a clear bulge on the top towards the back. It was solid black and had no sharp edges. As of yet, no one really knows what the hell this thing is."
I said, "Do you have religion?" And they said, "Religion? Isn't that something that's created by man? Do we have faith?" "Yes, we have faith." "Do we believe that there is that which you call God?" "We accept that based on our science." It's no longer a faith-based idea that there is a creator, that which you call God. That truly is. "Do you believe in life after death?" Yes, they do. They even have means to communicate with their loved ones. It's not some parlor trick. They really have the means to do it. But there are forbidden questions that you can't ask about what happens after death. Otherwise, you ask that, you're cut off immediately.
My first thought is, how the hell you as a human communicate with aliens? Like, is it some telepathic power? Or do you just speak English and he's just like, "Yeah, bro, like, I don't know, like, you know, like, I just don't really believe." Well, I guess he just gave me the answer to my previous question about how do we communicate with aliens, because he was just speaking English, apparently. What I will say, though, is that if that's a real video or not, he's not lying about AI taking over and then we're just going to be put in an infinite universe of pleasure and then our whole race just go completely extinct. I wouldn't be surprised.
Thousands saw this clip and believed that 12-foot-tall aliens are roaming the area. But what really happened in that Miami mall that night? On January 1st, 2024, just after midnight, chaos erupted outside the Bayside Marketplace in Miami, Florida. Official reports say it was just a fight between a group of 50 to 60 teenagers causing chaos, which involves fireworks. The internet wasn't convinced. Multiple people who were at or near the Bayside Marketplace that night claimed they saw something not human.
Everybody was nosy. And as soon as it started popping, this thing started glowing and it started going like a force field. Woo, 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 woo. Started glowing and it looked like somebody put a foot out like that. And then somebody put a hand out like that. And then all you see was this. All you see was like this. An image like that, that's all I seen. This was all glowing, so it was bright.
Eyewitnesses described tall, shadowy figures, standing anywhere from 8 to 10 feet tall, with glowing eyes and unusual movement, as if they were gliding or sprinting unnaturally fast. Some said the beings were black, featureless shapes, almost like cloaked figures, while others swore they saw them standing on rooftops or moving between cars in the parking lot. Several videos captured during the chaos seemed to show distorted silhouettes or figures flashing past the camera, which only fueled the belief that something otherworldly had appeared that night. While none of these claims were officially verified, the consistency in descriptions across dozens of unconnected social media posts is what made the conspiracy take off. TikTok, X, and Reddit are flooded with slowed-down footage, color-adjusted frames, and users claiming to have enhanced the clips to reveal something inhuman. In some, you can almost make out a tall silhouette. In others, it's just shadows and chaos. But that didn't stop thousands from stitching their own theories, calling it everything from a government experiment to an interdimensional breach. Interestingly, none of the eyewitnesses knew each other, yet their descriptions were strangely similar. That's what made the internet latch on. It didn't feel like a prank. It felt like something had happened, something strange enough that the official explanation didn't quite cover it. Skeptics argue it's a classic case of mass hysteria amplified by social media. One person misinterprets a shadow, says alien, and within minutes, a dozen others think they saw it too. Mix in shaky camera footage, the adrenaline of a New Year crowd, and the dramatic police response. And suddenly, the narrative writes itself.
I'm not gonna lie, my first thought is as soon as the alien stepped out of the portal, right, it sees everyone, running away. As soon as the cop pulls up, why did it just disappear? Like, bro just popped up, said, yo, what's going on, guys? Everyone starts running away, so they just disappeared.
When did things get weird? When did you realize, like, at what point in time did you say, hey, this is not normal work? Like, this doesn't even seem like it's from this planet.
That, I can't tell you what day that occurred on because so much time has gone by. The days have kind of fused into one, and I can't separate the days.
Was it a slow burn, or was there a moment of recognition?
Well, the first inkling I had was when I came in. There's this facility that is at S4. It's in the side of a mountain. And normally we had pulled in with the bus and gone around the front through a normal double door. This time that I went in, there were hangar doors open. I went in through the hangar door, and in the hangar door was the disc, the flying saucer that I worked on. I saw it sitting there, and we walked by it. It had a little American flag stuck on the side, and I thought, oh my God, this finally explains all the flying saucer stories. This is just an advanced fighter, and this is fucking hilarious.
Right.
So I went by, I slid my hand alongside it. I got reprimanded immediately for touching the thing. And there was a guy, an armed guard, that followed us in and just said, keep your eyes forward and your hands at your side and just walk in the door. So that was the first time I had seen anything that was weird. It was sometime later that I was introduced to my my lab partner, Barry, and we had some of the subcomponents of the craft in the lab, and Barry was very anxious to get a new lab partner, so he was very talkative and couldn't wait to show me different things. And it was in the demonstration of the reactor working where it caught my attention to where this is technology that doesn't even exist. So, I mean, that was the first time I knew that this is really something different.
What was it? What was it? What was it about this reactor that made you think that it didn't exist technologically?
Well, it was I actually have to back up because there were some briefings that I read before that certainly gave me the impression that this was going to be a weird job, but this was the first hands-on thing. This was a small reactor about the size of a hemisphere, about the size of a basketball, on a metal plate, and when it was running, it produced a gravitational field of its own. Now, this is something that we can't do.
High government officials disclosing extraterrestrials. Paul Hellyer.
Paul Hellyer, former Minister of Defense of Canada, and he believes that life forms from space exist and are present on Earth. Why do you say that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over our heads?
Well, because I know that they are. And they've been, as a matter of fact, they've been visiting our planet for thousands of years. And one of the cases that would interest you most, if you give me 2 or 3 minutes to answer, is during the Cold War, 1961, there were about 50 UFOs in formation flying south from Russia to across Europe. And the Supreme Allied Commander was very concerned and about ready to press the panic button when they turned around and went back over the North Pole. So they decided to do an investigation, and they investigated for 3 years, and they decided that with absolute certainty that 4 different species at least, had been visiting this planet for thousands of years. So that's we have a long history of UFOs, and of course there's been a lot more activity in the last few decades since we invented the atomic bomb, and they're very concerned about that and the fact that we might use it again. And because the whole cosmos is a unity, and it affects not just us but other people in the cosmos, they're very much afraid that we might be stupid enough to start using atomic weapons again, and this would be very bad for us and for them as well.
Alright, unity consciousness I can somewhat agree with. Like his explanation of why he believes these aliens are here and how they're coming to us and trying to be like, yo, chill with these nukes because it can mess everything up. I can genuinely see how that's possible. So in my opinion, what he just said holds substantial weight.
High government officials disclosing extraterrestrials. Haim Eshed.
The former head of Israel's space program, Haim Eshed, who says that aliens have been in contact with the US and with Israel, and they are hiding their presence because mankind is not yet ready. What does he refer to? The Galactic Federation that he says has been in touch with Israel and the US. He also says that Donald Trump was going to reveal their existence, but then basically got talked out of it, I suppose. Here was his quote. He says, Trump was on the verge of revealing that aliens existed, but the aliens in the Galactic Federation are saying, wait, let people calm down first. They don't want to start mass hysteria. They want to first make us sane and understanding.
Yeah, and look, he's 87 years old. According to him, he says he has nothing to lose. He's a decorated former Israeli general, former space security chief. He's been awarded a medal 3 separate times, 2 secretly, for actions that kept Israel safe. Clearly somebody who was regarded well by that government. Now, what he's saying is kind of crazy. He says that the cooperation there's a secret pact between the US government and the Galactic Federation, that the cooperation includes a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives.
So I just found a list of all the most outrageous documents the government has kept a secret from us until recently, and here are some of the best. The United States blatantly stealing a satellite from Russia in 1967, Project MKUltra, the FBI's Bigfoot investigation that was inconclusive, confirmation of Operation Paperclip, the secret spies the US had during the Cold War in Alaska who were just fishermen watching out for Russian paratroopers, the 1960s plan to build a moon base, and my favorite, 1983 trained cat soldiers that was a multi-million-dollar project for spying on the Soviets. But after quite a few tests in one mission, they shut it down because the cats were really hard to train. Comment what you'd like to hear more about.
That's actually really hilarious. I could just imagine training cats, because cats don't care about what humans got going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a cat, you know, you could literally be calling the cat, petting the cat, being like, yo, what's up, hi? And the cat literally doesn't care about you. He'll just look at you and be like, yo, leave me alone, and just dip. But like, I can only imagine how it feels training a cat.
They also found a live alien. That live alien was named Eva,
and he was transported to, it was a male, was transported to Los Alamos, where he lived out his life. He died in 1952. But during that time period that he was with us, he told us a plethora of information about what they have learned about the universe and what their technology is. Their technology is probably estimated to be about 50,000 years ahead of us.
The US government has photographic evidence that aliens exist.
The image was of something that I am not able to attach to any human capability.
For those confused, the US government had a hearing essentially confirming that aliens exist today. Now, during this hearing, there was a lot revealed, such as the fact that the government apparently has photographic evidence of aliens. They also apparently had a multi-decade program where they collected and tried to reverse engineer crashed UFOs. There's also allegedly been non-human biologics collected by the government, many sightings of strange objects in the sky, and apparently sightings of UFOs are not rare whatsoever and happen essentially every single day. Now, there's even more to all this that cannot be discussed in public, but will be further discussed behind closed doors, so I guess we may or may not ever hear about that. But just what we heard today is absolutely mind-blowing. And if all of this is true, that means that the government has been trying to hide all of this from us for decades.
This is hard to believe, and the CIA just left the world a grim message, and the end may be near. People were absolutely terrified that a document has been approved to be released on the CIA.gov website, and it describes a horrific situation in which we may all die. The CIA document describes such horrific attacks as not only unexpected, but a revenge attack sighting that will make your blood freeze. An aircraft had appeared above a military unit in Siberia. It was around the time one of the military personnel was testing missiles and launched one accidentally at the aircraft. It was then described that 5 humanoid-shaped creatures with large heads and black eyes emerged from the aircraft. It was then documented all 5 of them came together and merged into one, causing a huge white light and explosion. And then the 23 soldiers who saw this, they turned into white long poles made of limestone, and only 2 soldiers remained alive. The document states that since this technology exists, it would be extremely worrisome for our planet. So is this a government agent on drugs or real?
Yo, real? If the story is real or if the story is fake, I'm just hoping the aliens don't look nothing like this, dude. This would scare the daylight out of me, bro.
Você consegue captar as vibrações, vem até nós. Só não vem à noite.
Mano, pior que mexe esquisito demais.
Ele parece, sabe aquele lance índio? Essas plásticas é grande. Aquele movimento índio, com arco e flecha, é o movimento dele.
Ó, com o zoom aqui dá pra ver ele se mexendo melhor.
O zoom dele é melhor que o meu.
E outra coisa, se você for fazer uma comparação, ele é mais ou menos do tamanho daquela árvore lá, ó. Entendeu? Ele é grande. E outra coisa, até o jeito de se movimentar não tá normal.
The treaty stated the aliens would not interfere in our affairs and we would not interfere in theirs. We were particularly interested that they do not interfere with anything that would affect our future, which has been violated. We would keep their presence on Earth a secret. They would furnish us with advanced technology and would help us in our technological development. They would not make any treaty with any other Earth nation. They could abduct humans on a limited and periodic basis for the purpose of medical examination and monitoring of our development, with the stipulation that the humans would not be harmed, would be returned to their point of abduction, that the humans would have no memory of the event, and that the alien nation would furnish MJ-12 with a list of all human contacts and abductees on a regularly scheduled basis. And this is not being done. It was agreed that each nation would receive the ambassador of the other for as long as the treaty remained in force. It was further agreed that the alien nation and the United States would exchange 16 personnel each to the other with the purpose of learning each of the other. The alien guests would remain on Earth and the human guests would travel to the alien point of origin for a specified period of time, then return, at which point a reverse exchange would be made. I have no knowledge whatsoever of what happened to those original 16 humans who left the Earth with the aliens. It was also agreed that bases would be constructed underground for the use of the alien nation and that 2 bases would be constructed for the joint use of the alien nation and the United States government. The base at Dulce is one. The base at S4 in the area known as Area 51 or Dreamland is the second. Exchange of technology would take place in the jointly occupied bases. These alien bases would be constructed under Indian reservations in the four corners of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona, and one would be constructed in Nevada in the area known as S4, located approximately 7 miles south of the western border of Area 51, otherwise known as Dreamland. All alien areas are under complete control of the Naval Department, and all personnel who work in these complexes receive their checks from the Navy. Construction of the bases began immediately, but progress was slow until large amounts of money were made available in 1957, and in the meantime, work continued on the Yellow Book with the information derived from the guests.
So apparently aliens are real and the government is trying to reverse engineer their technology. If you didn't see the House Oversight Committee hearing, 4 witnesses, including a former Navy commander, testified under oath that there is intelligent non-human life out there. They have technology far more advanced than our own, other countries' governments are also aware of this, and there's an arms race trying to reverse engineer their tech. They apparently come from the ocean, and there's even a video from the US Navy encountering one of these UAPs or UFOs. This is obviously crazy, but if you look at some old government documents, it gets even more interesting because there's evidence that shows the government has known about these things for decades. This is an FBI document from 1950, it's on their official .gov website, and it bluntly says that they recovered 3 flying saucers from New Mexico. Each one was piloted by a 3-foot-tall humanoid wearing metallic cloth. There's also Project 1974. This document's also from the 1950s, so the name's a little confusing, but the Air Force was trying to engineer a flying saucer exactly as described in the FBI document. This saucer would be capable of flying at supersonic speeds, way faster than anything we have today. And now when you look at the video from the US Navy, what they saw is exactly what was described in the FBI document, and what the Air Force was trying to engineer or reverse engineer. A saucer shape with a raised center cabin. I can't wait for more information about all this to come out. Let me know what you guys think about all this, and if anything else comes out, I'll update you guys.
What is the most dangerous information that you know?
Oh boy. They're going to hoax an alien threat, and it's all a lie. So we are actually in the last year at the point where they've started on that plan. We have got to intercept this plan and stop it, or if you think 9/11 and the Iraq War was a clusterfuck, this is going to be that 1,000 times worse, that there's a group of people who control this issue that are trying to provoke an interplanetary incident. So the next war, World War III, will be interplanetary. It's a serious group of nut jobs, and they have to be put on a leash and stood down fast and quickly. This group started releasing stuff to the CNN and Washington Post and New York Times. Every bit of information they're putting out has the spin, it's a threat to the national security, our sovereignty has been invaded. It's the kind of brainwashing that's already started to try to convince the public there is an alien threat.
Yeah, I could definitely see them faking an alien attack or an alien invasion. I'm pretty sure, like, they said it was a part of the New World Order to, like, fake some type of alien invasion or something like that.
This shit is getting weird. The Brazilian government just released all of their files on UFOs. It's all in Portuguese, so it's a little bit hard to go through, but there's 900 different photos of UFOs on there. People are hoping these are from the Calheiros and Varginha cases, which were some of the most famous cases in Brazil. These are really convincing, especially since these were taken like 30 or 40 years ago, and we definitely didn't have technology like this back then. And the photos get even freakier because there are some over a lake right here where it looks like they're almost falling angels, like these black blobs just over this lake, and there are just so many witnesses to it as well. Brazil has one of the most UFO and alien sightings in the whole entire world, but you never know about it because it's not in the mainstream media. If you guys want to check out the report yourself, you're going to have to make an account on this Brazilian government website. Let me know what you guys think because this is actually crazy.
Brazil just made an absolute boss move in UFO transparency and dropped the receipts on nearly 900 UFO cases. This is huge. So on May 31st, Brazil's National Archives released 893 UFO cases, to be exact, to the public. And we're talking about sightings from 1952 all the way up to 2023, complete with photos, audio recordings, witness drawings, detailed official reports.
Oh, que porra é essa?
And I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish. And burnt my fingers right off of me. And it was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt burned all my toenails off of me. Completely crispy crittered my left foot. Burnt the shoe right off of me. All I remember is the smoking remains, and I'm still conscious, but in and out of, I didn't remember much. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. And I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for him. I'm forever indebted. He lost his life. 66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat. There's a war underneath there, and I'm talking dead serious. It's been going on since that time. Since late August of 1979, our military, the Russian military, basically the militaries of the world, have been in constant conflict with the outer space alien.
Dude, that one was creepy, because as he was explaining the story, you could literally see his fingers cut off. I mean, he was in the military, so that could have been from anything, but his story was kind of convincing. Like, actually, the real question is, why are you trying to kill an alien? And I don't know, bro. Me personally, I'd be terrified if I tried to kill an alien. I feel like I'd kill the alien, then out of nowhere, just 18 of them would just spawn in front of me and just murder me. I don't know, dude. I would not risk it. Sometimes I do be thinking to myself, like, I wonder if they're just trying to spread an agenda. Either that or something's in the water.
Morbid Facts, Part 743. At the height of his YouTube and FaZe Clan fame, Norden Chad, aka FaZe Rain, spiraled into a drug addiction so destructive that millions of fans watched him unravel in real time. What began with casually showing off painkillers to his audience escalated to him swallowing alarming amounts of pills on stream, bragging about it while his body silently deteriorated. By 2020, Rain was suffering seizures, collapsing, and eventually lost the ability to walk. Doctors warned the nerve damage in his legs might be permanent, leaving him in a wheelchair and forcing him into grueling therapy. His addiction wrecked friendships, destroyed his career, and turned a gaming star into a cautionary tale as fans saw him posting from hospital beds and fighting through constant pain. But after years of setbacks and near-death lows, he finally clawed his way back to sobriety. Rain can now walk again, is slowly attempting to rebuild his career, and now shares his harrowing story as a warning about how fast addiction can take everything.
Dude, I remember watching this dude every single day when I was like 13 years old, so it was kind of crazy to see him take that path. But you know what I'm saying, it's always good to see people come out of situations like that.
I found Donald Trump in London from centuries ago.
So this church has an image of Donald Trump on it. It's from the 15th century. The parts of the church is called St. Bartholomew's, and it's part of the famous hospital of St. Bartholomew, founded in 1123. But if you go around the corner to the garden here and look up at some of the images on the roof, you will see a certain American president. So Now that's not Donald Trump here, nor is this one as well, but if you go here and look up at this gentleman here, look really closely, it can be no other than the Donald himself. And yet this is some 250 years old. How did they know?
And yet there's another Donald Trump reference in the City of London as well. Watch this.
Now, I don't believe in conspiracy theories at all, nor in time travel or anything like that. I'm in the City of London and I'm looking towards Trump Street. And the bizarre thing, which you notice if you walk along Trump Street to the end of the street, as I said, no conspiracies at all. I'm not that sort of person. But look at the street that's right next to it. If you follow Trump, then the trail leads you all the way to Russia.
Me personally, I've never went under anesthesia, but anyone that's ever went under anesthesia, let me know what you went through. Because I've seen some people say they felt like it was the best sleep of their life, and I've seen some people say like they wake up completely like sick and just in pain.
They would take a stray dog from the streets and train her to remain calm in a tiny capsule while handling the intense shaking and noise of a rocket launch. Once she was ready, she was strapped to a rocket and sent away to space to become the first living creature to circle the Earth. But as the world celebrated her achievement, some people back home were not so excited. You see, the engineers in charge of the mission only had less than 4 weeks to design and build the spacecraft. So by the time of the launch, they still hadn't figured out a way to bring her back down. They just launched her knowing they were never gonna see her again, since all they wanted to test was whether life could survive in space or not.
Morbid Facts, Part 649. Coach Tyler Wall was a 38-year-old fitness mentor who played a central role in Mr. Beast's recent video, Lose 100 Pounds, Win $250,000, where he trained contestant Maj in a grueling months-long weight loss journey. Tyler provided constant support physically and emotionally as Maj fought to shed over 100 pounds. But tragically, midway through filming, Coach Wall was found dead in his Greenville, North Carolina apartment on February 18, 2025. His death was described as sudden and unexpected, with no official cause publicly disclosed. Completely devastated, the Mr. Beast team gave Maj the choice to stop the challenge, but he chose to continue in honor of his late coach. Maj ultimately completed the drastic transformation, dropping from 324 pounds to 222, achieving the goal he and his coach set out to reach together. Despite initial hesitation, the Mr. Beast team chose to release the video with a tribute honoring Tyler's impact, ending with the words, "In loving memory of Coach Tyler Wall."
Yeah, I remember watching that Mr. Beast video. That was actually a really good video. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm gonna try to tag it like right here.
George Washington was fighting for his life because his throat had been terribly infected. You see, he was riding horses in the freezing rain, and his throat was ravaged with bacteria that was lethal at the time. In 1799, there were no antibiotics. So instead, doctors cut open his arm. They drained over 80 ounces of blood from his body, more than a 2-liter soda. But this weakened the president until he gasped his final words, "'Tis well."
If you didn't know, shoving dead people inside of cryogenic chambers with the hopes that 100 years in the future we'll figure out how to unthaw them and bring them back to life is a complete scam. I promise you, throughout the next couple decades, we'll be seeing billions of dollars worth of lawsuits because of this. How can I be so certain? Because my man, they're dead. If I took a nice juicy T-bone steak and then put it in the freezer for a century, there's no possible way to turn it back into a cow. The cow was gone the second you turned it into a steak, regardless if you froze it or not. Maybe you're asking, how is there gonna be lawsuits over this? If they're dead anyways, what's the matter if they're in the ground or in a cryo chamber? The These things cost $250,000 up front. And then just to run them and keep them below negative 100 degrees, it costs $1,200 monthly. If the family or friends of the loved one who's in these cryo chambers doesn't pay, they just will shut it off. And now that friends and family have a double grieving process. Dead people in cryo chambers is just a cash grab to steal from grieving people.
Since my Hiroshima video sparked a lot of debate, I think it's only fair that we take a look at some of the most horrific things Japan did during World War II, each one darker than the last. Before the atomic bombings, Japan had planned for a horrific biological attack on California. Submarines would launch planes to drop fleas infected with bubonic plague over San Diego, hoping to trigger mass death and chaos across the US. Scheduled for September 1945, it was only halted when Japan surrendered weeks earlier, narrowly preventing one of history's deadliest biological attacks. During the war, Japan's military forced tens of thousands of women, many as young as teenagers, into sexual slavery. Known as comfort women, they were trapped in military brothels, raped by dozens of soldiers each day, and often left broken by disease, pregnancy, or suicide. Survivors who later spoke out described it as a daily death they were forced to endure for years. When Japanese troops invaded Nanjing in 1937, the city descended into 6 weeks of unrestrained horror. Hundreds of thousands of civilians and prisoners of war were executed, often by machine guns, bayonets, or mass burnings. Up to 80,000 women were systematically raped, sometimes murdered immediately after, and sometimes mutilated as a warning to others. Eyewitnesses described rivers flooded with corpses and roads so littered with bodies that walking became impossible without stepping on the dead. And perhaps the most horrific of all, Japan's Secret Unit 731 in Manchuria carried out some of the most sadistic experiments in history, using men, women, and even children as disposable test subjects. Some prisoners were deliberately infected with painfully deadly viruses, then dissected alive without anesthesia so doctors could study how the diseases destroyed living organs in real time. Others were tied to stakes while grenades or flamethrowers were tested on them, or left outside in sub-zero cold until their flesh blackened with frostbite, before doctors hacked off limbs one by one to see how long they could survive. Some had their arms amputated and reattached to the other side of their body, while others had their entire skin slowly peeled off to see how long it would take them to die. In all, tens of thousands of people were killed through torture disguised as science, and not a single test subject ever made it out alive. Perhaps most shocking of all, many of the doctors who oversaw these experiments walked free after the war, trading their horrific research to America in exchange for immunity.
Do you know that this drug lets you hear other people's thoughts? They call it Echo. One pill, and suddenly you know everyone's secrets, their fears, their lies, their darkest desires. For a moment, it feels like power, but the whispers don't stop. Even when you're alone, voices claw inside your head, growing louder each day. Some aren't even human. Some speak in dead languages no one understands. And the worst part? Keep taking Echo long enough, and one voice rises above the rest. A voice that doesn't belong to anyone alive. A voice that commands. And once you listen, your mind is no longer yours.
Yo, if you gotta take a drug to think that you can hear people's thoughts, I don't think you're hearing people's thoughts, buddy.
Here's one of the ultimate beauty care methods in the Victorian era. Women in the Victorian era were also interested in losing weight, but instead of relying on traditional workout methods like cardio, they turned to something much simpler: swallowing an egg that came from a tapeworm, which is a type of parasite. And once the tapeworm hatched in patient's intestine, it fed on any nutrients supplied to the patient's body, eventually growing up to whopping 15 to 30 feet. And despite the chance that patient's heart or brain might get infected by the worm, women simply didn't care that much because it actually helped them lose weight. And once that's achieved, the only problem left was getting the tapeworm out of the body. First, a doctor made the patient starve for a good amount of time along with the tapeworm, and lure the worm out through her mouth with the smell of food. Second, the patient was placed in water heated to body temperature so the worm could crawl out through the other end. Lastly, instead of waiting for it to come out, the doctor made the patient swallow a luring device to catch the worm inside. However, since shoving a metal object down the throat is of course extremely dangerous, and no one knew how long it would take for the tapeworm to take the bait, the patient's chance of choking to death was pretty high.
He invented special glasses to help his daughter, who was going blind, according to the legend. But when she put them on, she saw that the Earth was inside the stomach of an enormous creature. This creature controlled humanity's minds, so we wouldn't realize we were being eaten. But the vision was so terrifying that she took off the glasses and pulled out her own eyes with her bare hands. Her father burned the designs and mysteriously disappeared, and the glasses were never seen again.
February 13th, 2017. At around 9 a.m., a man arrived at Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia. While waiting for the departure of his flight, he was walking through an area of the airport. To his surprise, 2 young women approached him from different directions. One grabbed him from behind and put her hand on his face, brushing the action off as a prank, then leaving the scene. The man felt suspicious that this was just a prank, so he reported the incident to the airport employees. Minutes later, he started to feel rather sick. His body was sweating furiously, his chest felt tighter as breathing got harder. Medics at the airport came to check and treat his issue, but eventually he needed to be transferred to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, he unfortunately passed away inside the ambulance. The name that he gave them was Kim Chol, but later it was revealed that this man's real identity is Kim Jong-nam, the older half-brother of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This means one thing: it was not an innocent prank, but an assassination.
Yo, I genuinely wonder what they gave him.
10 hours before he died, Michael Jackson asked his doctor for a medicine to help him sleep. And after the doctor gave him a small dose of a sedative, it didn't work, and he stayed awake until 2 a.m. Then he asked for something stronger, and the doctor, who was being paid to stay with him 24 hours a day, connected the monitoring equipment and gave him a heavier drug. The problem was that Michael Jackson had never slept well since childhood, and because he used to go 2 or 3 days completely awake, he had been taking increasingly stronger drugs to be able to fall asleep. But that day, he had already been awake for 8 hours straight, which made him ask for a drug so strong that it was only supposed to be used inside a hospital. At that moment, the doctor picked up the syringe and injected the drug into him, finally making him sleep. The problem was that after 30 minutes, he stopped breathing, and the doctor immediately tried to revive him, spending 40 minutes trying alone without any equipment. After that time, he realized it was impossible and decided to call an ambulance, but they couldn't save Michael's life, and the doctor was arrested.
In the 1930s, during one execution, the prisoner wasn't positioned properly. The blade missed the neck and hit the shoulder. The man was still alive, screaming. The executioner had to reposition the body while it bled and drop the blade again. Even hardened officials turned pale that day. In Marseille, one guillotine was so poorly maintained that the blade became dull. During one execution, the blade dropped and bounced off the prisoner's neck. Blood sprayed. The man screamed. They raised the blade and tried again. The second time, another failed cut. Only after a third drop did the head finally come off. The crowd, horrified.
A Soviet soldier took a secret document and used it as toilet paper in 1941. Then he threw it into the trash bin where British spies discovered and cleaned it hours later. He did this because the British intentionally delayed the paper supply, and the Soviets were forced to use anything they had on hand. And because they didn't expect the British to be raiding all their trash bins, the spies recovered tank blueprints, troop locations, and even Soviet battle plans. A bear broke free from his handler and sprinted toward a wounded soldier on the battlefield, but instead of tearing him apart, the bear picked him up and carried him back to safety. You see, this bear had traveled with Polish soldiers for over a year, carrying ammunition, and when he saw his wounded friend in the middle of battle, he acted like a nurse and brought him back. The bear was later awarded several medals and sent to a zoo, where his friend visited him often. This is a knife pistol, the most loved weapon among CIA spies. It looks like an ordinary knife, but it has a single bullet chamber hidden inside the handle. So in a moment of danger, it can fire a deadly shot,
surprising the target in a close combat.
The most common surgery of the Middle Ages was amputation, and it was done without anesthesia. Imagine being tied down in a crowded market while a barber sawed off your infected limb with a dull, rusty blade. There were no hospitals, no sterile rooms, just pain, panic, and blood. The patient was restrained by several men, screaming as the barber surgeon worked quickly to avoid death by blood loss. The only anesthesia was a gulp of strong alcohol or a blow to the head to make the victim faint. Their tools were crude: razors, pliers, and even kitchen knives. Once the limb was cut off, the wound was sealed by pressing red-hot iron directly onto the flesh. Many patients didn't survive, dying from shock, infections, or massive bleeding. Follow for more dark and shocking history.
What a wild twist. So the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, Maria Machado, she just dedicated that prize to none other than Donald Trump. I'm not... I'm not even kidding. So she just tweeted saying that now more than ever, we count on President Trump, the people of the United States, Latin America, and the Democratic allies to achieve freedom and democracy. Then, quote, I dedicate this prize to the suffering people of Venezuela and to President Trump for his decisive support of our cause.
How English sounds to non-English speakers. What you will hear now is just an audio that simulates the phonetics of English, so there are no real words or sentences that make sense.
Larneth glorv slent wibish provins tho ogl glod harnish gledem shanter bloop vrendel swarth keys dowlip bloxen trolley flibbish kroons wither nog sharnip kredel stribly fen tulling broave fleb klintug grebish yarp flunder stroes gleed then dow jimish blort crinkly shaven wibble sward British glom turv ledo cranks blidhorpen drebish chind flarn thimble scrove nefer glarnish gibble thrandish steward glef venlope klindlebrand. She ever moffling ride thrigish pladdle stee wandel. Bluke shorp grempish blarv wiffle krendel froave shindle prat robish flem door trindle fleck glarv bliggle short drindle vlent garmish breastundle thromish glef warren beffer flub clending jormish strack flemish vorn glef shottle tharmish crud swindle dribble fret flaxen gledish where brendish florn geep klindle grobble shart drindle gleavish flare vrantle miffle blart waddle stobbish gren fliggle treftish sharn vortle grieve slib krindle grobble farn brovish stend gleet jandish miffle blart thernal grom shan trindle scriddle flarn glimble shefish morv wendyish crumple esnet bladish flarn greep your.
That sounds like a witch was casting like a spell in the most American accent.
Donald Trump just had one of the busiest days of his life. In the morning, he flew from Washington to Israel, where he then immediately addressed their parliament and was called
the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
He was then interrupted by an MP who was shouting about Gaza genocide, but then was quickly rushed out of the room.
That was very efficient.
After all of this, he then got back on the plane and flew to Egypt for the final signing of the ceasefire deal, officially concluding the war after 2 years.
The war is over. The war is over, okay? Do you understand that?
He also invited more than 20 world leaders, some of which Trump said only had 20 minutes notice to come, but still dropped everything to arrive. In fact, he originally invited Netanyahu to also attend, but later had to uninvite him after the Turkish president said that he would not land his plane in Egypt if Bibi was there as well. He had yet another insane handshake with French President Macron, so the saga continues. But one of the longest handshakes he had with world leaders was with the Palestinian Authority president. He had a bit of an awkward moment with Keir Starmer.
United Kingdom? Where's the United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Come here. Is everything going good? Very good. That's good. Nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice. And I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others. And
he called Canada's Prime Minister a president, and then said he's lucky that he didn't call him a governor.
I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
did I say?
That's good. I started.
He called Italy's Prime Minister beautiful.
She's a beautiful young woman. Where is she? There she is. You don't mind being called beautiful, right? Because you are. Thank you very much.
And then kind of rounded it out by saying that he didn't like some of the world leaders attending, but
you'll never find out who they are. Well, maybe you will, come to think of it.
Now, after the deal was officially signed, even some of Trump's political opponents gave him credit, including Biden, Bill Clinton, and even shockingly, Hillary. Egypt awarded Trump with the Order of the Nile, which is the country's highest state honor. Jimmy Carter was the only other US president to receive it. Time magazine praised Trump, calling him a hero, and Trump responded by saying it was a great article, but they used the worst picture of all time. Trump concluded by saying that there is not going to be World War III, and suggested that there will be peace in the Middle East. So the big question is, do you believe him, or is this situation still far from over?
My honest opinion is I feel like there probably is a catch, like something probably he traded or something that he did to completely stop the war. But I was telling one of my friends this theory that I had, because you know Trump always talks about having a third term. I feel like towards the end of his term, I might like literally clip this just in case it happens. Towards the end of his term, I feel like he might start a war. Because I don't know if you guys know, but back in the day, I think it was either FDR or Theodore Roosevelt. One of the Roosevelts. I think it was either World War I or World War II. There was a world war going on, and then they served an extra term just because there was the war going on. So I don't know if Trump can do that now, because I think that was like martial law back in the day. I don't know if Trump can do that now, but don't be surprised if he tries it.
They have an inflatable air mattress that they can inflate and deflate
whenever they need it. And that provides a better illusion for you, the viewer. Because once the wrestler lands and he's safely on the ground and your attention is somewhere else, they can deflate the bag and the announce table appears to be touching the floor. Next, we're going to talk about another extreme item, barbed wire. And like the thumbtacks, this barbed wire is 100% real. But unlike the thumbtacks, there is a bit of a trick to this, and I'm going to show you. And again, I stress, do not attempt any of this at home. Barbed wire, it's a tough material to handle, and I promise you, it will spring up and catch you if you're not careful. Just let me be the idiot. Okay, here's the secret. Now, barbed wire is a material, a very tough material, that's designed with these barbs to keep cattle in a certain location, so you know from the jump. It's a sturdy, tough material that's designed to withstand the elements.
You really aren't ready for this one. Now, this story starts with this guy. His name's James, and James is 55, living in Colorado. Here's the thing about James. I guess bro really likes to smash. Because he has a wife, this woman, Suzanne, but James and Suzanne are also both in a long-term relationship with this guy, O'Neill. And so I guess they all smash together. I don't know how that works, but they're all three together. They're a throuple, and they all three live together. And one night in 2023, the three of them are at their condo. And they are apparently partying a bit hard. Like there's a bit of cocaine, a bit of meth, and they're just, they're having a good time. And afterwards, O'Neill lays down to go to sleep, and unfortunately, he doesn't wake up. And so the next morning, Suzanne wakes up in her bed and she looks over to the floor where O'Neill's air mattress is, because he sleeps on an air mattress next to their bed. And Suzanne sees O'Neill and she's like, oh shit, I think O'Neill's dead. And James looks over and he's like, yep. And so they check his pulse and James tries to perform CPR on him, but no luck. O'Neill is definitely no longer alive, and it seems like he may have partied a little too hard and, OD'd. So now James is like, let's call police. But Suzanne is like, nah, because she isn't ready to give him up. And so that's what they do. They just leave O'Neill's body there in the condo, right there on the air mattress next to their bed. Now, around this time, I guess one of O'Neill's Social Security checks comes in the mail because, he's getting Social Security. And James and Suzanne are like, oh shit, O'Neill's money. And they realize that no one knows O'Neill is dead. And as long as no one knows that, his Social Security checks will keep coming in. And since he doesn't really need that money anymore because he's no longer living, maybe they could just, keep it for themselves. And to make it worse, they also have the PIN number to his debit card. So they can just deposit these checks into his account and boom, they can spend all his money. So both James and Suzanne start using O'Neill's debit card to fund their life. Suzanne starts buying things she needs online from like a beauty supply store. They also pay off their cable internet bill and their insurance bill. James is buying a bunch of shit he wants as well. He even spends it on like random stuff at like 7-Eleven. And about a week goes by, and O'Neill is still laying there on their air mattress in their room. And I would assume at this point it would like start to smell or something, but I guess James and Suzanne don't mind. But here's who does mind. James and Suzanne's chihuahuas. They actually have 8 chihuahuas. And at some point, at least one or some of them start sniffing around O'Neill's body. And they start chewing on him and I guess eating him? And one day, James and Suzanne hear the dogs in the bedroom chewing on this body. And so they go there and they're like, oh shit, the dogs are eating O'Neill. But I guess they're not worried enough to bury O'Neill. Instead, Suzanne decides to just throw the deflated air mattress over him to keep the dogs off. Because, the dogs can't chew through the mattress. And that apparently works because from here, the dogs stop trying to eat O'Neill. Oh, and it gets worse because James and Suzanne keep this whole thing going. They don't report O'Neill dead or missing or anything. And they keep spending his Social Security checks. And 18 months go by. That is a year and a half. A year and a half, and O'Neill's body is still just laying there on the floor in the bedroom underneath the deflated air mattress. Who the hell knows how bad it smells at this point? And not only that, by this point, they've stolen more than $17,000 out of O'Neill's bank accounts. And that is when this guy comes in. We'll just call him Brother, because he's O'Neill's estranged brother. Well, Brother wants to get a hold of O'Neill, but he can't get through, no matter how many times he tries. And of course, Brother doesn't know that O'Neill has passed away. He's just not sure what's going on. Anyways, after no luck getting through, he eventually reaches out to the police for help, and he asks them to do a welfare check on his brother O'Neill. And so police, they go to the address where they think O'Neill could be staying, which is James and Suzanne's condo, and they knock on the door, and James answers. And James is like, hey, but in his mind, he's probably like, oh, fuck. And so police, they ask him what his name is, and James is like, I'm James. Here's the thing, though. O'Neill's name is also James O'Neill. And so police now believe that they are talking to O'Neill. And James knows this, but he's just going to keep letting them believe it. And so police are like, cool, your family's worried about you. So what's up with that? And James, pretending to be O'Neill, is like, well, tell my brother I don't want to see him, and I want to be left in peace. And the police are like, all right. And so police go back to Brother, and they tell him, O'Neill is fine, and he doesn't want you to contact him anymore. But then they show Brother the body cam footage of their interaction with who they believe Neil is. And Brother watches it and he's like, that's not my brother. So police, they go back to James's condo and they question him and Suzanne. And James and Suzanne admit that they do actually know O'Neill, but they each give very conflicting stories on where he might be. So police are like, yeah, this is suspicious. And so they file a missing persons report for O'Neill, but they can't prove James and Suzanne have done anything wrong. But Brother, he's not going to give up. He knows these two weirdos know something about O'Neill's disappearance. And so Brother comes up with a plan to try and trick James and Suzanne into admitting that they know where O'Neill is. So he calls Suzanne and he's like, hi, I really need to talk to O'Neill because he's got some inheritance and I want to give him his share. And Suzanne is like, inheritance? Say less! Because, she's probably thinking that if O'Neill gets an inheritance, that she and James will get access to it. So Suzanne tells Brother that O'Neill is here, he's sitting right next to me, but he doesn't want to talk to you. So then Brother says he needs O'Neill's social security number and his bank account info so that he can deposit the inheritance into his account. So Suzanne gives it to him. And Brother says, cool, one more thing. O'Neill is going to have to sign for his inheritance at the bank in person. And that is when Suzanne just gives up and she stops talking to him. So that plan didn't work. But now Brother has something to work with. So, using the information Suzanne gave him, he starts digging into O'Neill's bank accounts. And he sees that not only are O'Neill's social security checks hitting his bank account every month, but there's also a lot of spending activity going on and a ton of ATM withdrawals. And so Brother, he takes this to police, and they start investigating. And they are able to track O'Neill's debit card to a local 7-Eleven where James had been using it. And when they look at the surveillance footage from that day and time, they see James, not O'Neill, using O'Neill's card. Here's an actual surveillance image of James entering the store. And so police, they get a warrant and they go back to the condo and Suzanne meets them outside. And police tell her that they're going in. And Suzanne doesn't even hesitate. She's just like, yeah, O'Neill's in the bedroom and he's dead under the air mattress. And so, bam, the police arrest James. Here's his mugshot. Also, bam, they arrest Suzanne. Here's her mugshot. And they actually haven't been to trial yet, so all of this is obviously alleged, even though they have admitted to doing most of it.
Yo, this dude's story is always just super crazy. And it makes you think, like, people really have, like, the heart to do stuff like that. Because they knew the dude. It was pretty much one of their friends. And then he was dead and they didn't call nobody. They just stole his money and left him. That's messed up, man. That's messed up.
Morbid Facts, Part 726. Here's a photo of two tourists posing inside the Claw of Death at Chernobyl, a massive crane used to scoop up chunks of radioactive reactor core after the 1986 meltdown. The machine is still so contaminated that standing near it can deliver radiation doses dozens of times higher than a chest X-ray, and its rusted frame is coated in radioactive dust that can cling to hair, skin, or clothing. While a brief picture likely won't cause immediate sickness, the exposure adds to long-term cancer risk, and any contamination they brought home could be far deadlier. It remains one of the most dangerously toxic relics of the exclusion zone, yet people still climb inside it for a photo op. In 2000, a Tahitian man named Fidel Maruhi pulled off one of the most unlikely survivals in aviation history. He stowed away in the wheel well of a Boeing 747 bound for Los Angeles. For 7.5 hours, he endured sub-zero temperatures and near total lack of oxygen, and when rescuers found him, his core body temperature was just 79 degrees Fahrenheit, a level usually considered fatal. But against all odds, he lived, and when asked why he'd risk such a death-defying stunt, he explained his dream was to reach France simply so he could shake hands with soccer legend Zinedine Zidane.
Me personally, I don't think a handshake is worth that much torture.
Congratulations! You've been hired as the night guard at Wes Supermarket in the desolate town of Derry, Maine. Your job? Patrol the aisles, watch the cameras, and follow the rules, especially rule number 5. Rule number 1. Lock the front doors at exactly 10:30 p.m. Not before, not after. If you get the timing wrong, you'll be locking something inside with you. Rule number 2. If you see a shopping cart moving on its own between the aisles, don't touch it. Don't even get close. Rule number 3. Around 12:05, if you hear knocking from inside the freezers, ignore it, no matter how loud it gets. Rule number 4. When you walk past the clothing section, the mannequins will turn their heads to follow you. Pretend you don't notice, and whatever you do, don't look back at them. Rule number 5. At exactly 2:53 a.m. on Security Monitor 2, a woman in a white dress will appear, staring directly into the camera. Do not blink. Do not look away until she walks out of the frame. If you break eye contact, even for a second, she'll vanish. And right after, you'll hear knocking on the security room door. Turn off all the lights. Crawl under the desk. Don't move until the knocking stops. Stay calm. Follow the rules. And good luck, Night Guard.
Alex Russo has passed away. Be sure you're following to stay in the loop. So on Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, Selena Gomez's character Alex Russo just passed away in the season 2 finale. Now I won't get too into the details of the episode, but the way that Alex Russo passes is she essentially sacrifices herself by tackling an evil wizard into a portal, which then closes after both her and the evil wizard fall in. Rest in peace to Miss Alex Russo. You're one of Disney Channel's greatest characters.
Yo, Wizard of Waverly Place when I was a kid was one of the greatest shows on Disney Channel at the time.
To the 2 little girls that have passed away in New York City for train surfing, have you guys went on her TikTok and seen the type of activities that she prolonging? Like, we're not gonna, their parents should be blamed. That's for 1. And for 2, they really cost their life on doing dangerous things. Have you guys went on their TikTok pages? Like, this little girl literally be on bridges and under bridges and posting hanging from buildings and bridges and stuff like that. Like, she had like no shade, like this type of shit was bound to happen. Like, rest in peace to her. This is not the first. They were not the first people to pass away on train suffering, and they're probably not going to be the last thing to pass through on train suffering. And I just want you to truly know, like, there's nothing that should cost you your life enough to be so dangerous, doing dangerous things. Like, just these kids are doing dangerous things on a day by day. And like I said, as parents, I know you cannot control everything that your kids do, but having a peace of mind of exactly where your kids is at should be top tier 1 of them. And for them to have been recording while underneath the train and there's a train going above them, first of all, I'm scared of rats. But forget the rats. The electricity from the trains that could have been knocked them out and killed them. Like, it's just so much that these kids were actually doing. But hey, parents need to watch out for their kids. And
yeah, I do remember hearing about 2 kids actually dying from subway surfing. That's been a really popular thing in New York, where a lot of people have actually started riding on top of trains. And sadly, a lot of them, they miscalculate things or they get trapped in certain areas and then they just get... I'm not too sure what the story is about her, but all I know is that she was very young.
Morbid Facts, Part 744. After retiring from the NFL in 1990, Hall of Famer Mike Webster's life unraveled into a spiral of bizarre and disturbing behavior. Once celebrated as the Iron Man of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he spent his final years homeless or sleeping in his pickup truck, suffering crushing headaches, dementia, and paranoia. Friends and family later described shocking habits, urinating in his own oven, shocking himself with a taser just to fall asleep, and gluing his decaying teeth back together. At one point, he even carried around a briefcase filled with superglue, painkillers, and duct tape, using them as makeshift tools to hold his broken body together. By the time he died of a heart attack in 2002 at just 50 years old, Webster's decline had become a cautionary tale of the hidden costs of football. When doctors examined his brain, they discovered the first confirmed case of CTE in an NFL player, proof of how the game had slowly destroyed him from the inside out.
This doctor always consumed magic mushrooms before his surgeries, believing that it enhanced his focus during operations. While performing a surgery, he suddenly realized that he was operating on himself. Seeing this, he became frightened and decided to stop the operation. He thought he had hallucinated due to consuming too many magic mushrooms and had suddenly passed out. When he came to, he realized he had actually passed out in his kitchen chair and that he wasn't a doctor at all. He'd been trying to carve a turkey for Thanksgiving, and the whole thing had just been a bad trip.
Meanwhile, Patricia's visibly exhausted, gasping for breath as Carrie continues to chase her.
You done playing the stupid games? Yeah. How you shut up? How you shut up? Huh? What?
In the end, Carrie appears to be heading back home. Yet, behind that silence, he plots something dangerous. Even in his intoxicated state, he knows Patricia's been recording his every move. So he makes a calculated choice to stay quiet enough to make Patricia believe that everything's over and follow him back into the residence.
Yo, is it me or does he look like the thumb man from Spy Kids, if y'all know what I'm talking about?
On the morning of August 26, 2015, WDBJ reporter 24-year-old Allison Parker and her cameraman 27-year-old Adam Ward visited the Bridgewater Plaza near Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia. Their goal was to do a live interview with the executive director of the local Chamber of Commerce, Vicki Gardner, about an upcoming event at the lake. Things went just as planned initially, with Adam setting up the camera equipment and Allison starting the interview at 6:45 a.m. What none of them knew, however, was that they were about to become the victims of a crazed stalker. Just seconds into the interview, an armed man walked up to the group and opened fire. The live feed cut back to the in-studio reporter, who was just as shocked at what happened as the many viewers watching live.
Okay, not sure what happened there. We will, of course, let you know as soon as we find out what those sounds were from.
Tragically, by the time first responders arrived, both Allison and Adam had already succumbed to their injuries and passed away. Vicky was badly hurt as well, but she managed to play dead and ultimately survive the encounter despite getting shot in the back. As for the perpetrator, he had already fled the scene by this point, and with no nearby CCTV capturing a clear image of his face or view.
Morbid Facts, Part 709. YouTuber Benjamin Bennett built a cult following with his eerie project Sitting and Smiling. Hundreds of 4-hour videos where he sits cross-legged, staring at the camera with a fixed grin, never moving or speaking. What starts as harmless quickly turns unsettling, the smile morphing into something more of a mask. His commitment over the years has produced some rather disturbing moments. In one recording, someone apparently tries to break into his home, but Bennett continues to grin without moving, sending the intruder fleeing in fear. In another, he loses control of his bladder midstream but still doesn't break character, letting the accident happen as though it were irrelevant to the ritual. In perhaps the most disturbing case, he allegedly kept filming while his grandmother lay dying in the next room, the fixed smile never faltering even as tragedy was unfolding in his own home. He's never once broken character or explained why he does this, leaving behind thousands of hours of unsettling footage that's disturbed viewers online for years.
So this 20-year-old kid ate a little bit of pasta, and 10 hours later he died of liver failure from it. This is what happened. So the kid's name was AJ, and he was doing kind of a meal prep type of thing. He would cook all the pasta, a big batch of it. He would separate it out into different dishes, and then when it was time to eat it, he would put it in the microwave, heat it up, add his sauce, and he's ready to go. The problem is, instead of putting it in the refrigerator, he would just leave it on the counter for the week. Now, leaving it on the counter allowed bacteria to grow, and a lot of people think, okay, well, once it's sitting out there, a lot of times you're just like, oh, well, just heat it up, it'll kill the bacteria. Well, not in this case. See, this is a very common thing that occurs when people call it basically the fried rice syndrome, and it's basically this specific type of bacteria that causes diarrhea, vomiting, and all sorts of stuff that occurs from the bacteria, the specific type of bacteria that grows when you leave food such as rice or pasta at room temperature for an extended period of time. And in some instances, it can be deadly. And in his case, it was the deadly kind. So he ate the pasta, went outside to play some sports, and
This was the tragic moment when just a single pitch pushed an MLB player to suicide. On October 12, 1986, Angels relief pitcher Donnie Moore was just one strike away from sending his team to the World Series when he gave up a devastating home run to Boston's Dave Henderson in Game 5 of the ALCS. The Angels went on to lose the game, the series, and fans never forgave him. Even though the loss wasn't entirely his fault, Moore became the public scapegoat. He was relentlessly booed, received hate mail and death threats, and was blamed for cursing the team. The moment single-handedly destroyed his career in mental health. He spiraled into depression, injuries, alcoholism, and financial stress. For years, he lived with the unbearable guilt of that one pitch, famously saying, "I relive it every day." In July of 1989, consumed with anger and despair, he shot his wife during an argument, then turned the gun on himself in front of one of their children. His wife survived, but Moore died at just 35 years old. One of the most tragic examples of how a single moment in sports can lead to a real-life nightmare.
"What do you do if a great white bumps you?" And I said, "Well, I'd be scared and I would swim to shore." And he says, "You know how fast they can swim in the water? 40 miles an hour. The fastest swimmer in the world can outswim this. When you splash, 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 you are saying, 'Come eat me.' It's exciting him. He's saying, 'Oh, you're food.' Okay. It's nothing personal. If they don't know what you are, they're going to bump you to see what you do. If you immediately attacked him, because it's only an instant, and you scratch his eyeball or grab his gill, he's gone. Doesn't want to mess with you. These sharks, these great whites, in the womb, if there's 7 babies in there, the winner is the one that eats all of them. Then they're born and they come out fighting.
A blind girl was once asked what it's like to lose your vision, and the way she explained it left everyone speechless.
You guys keep asking me, Kitty, what do blind people actually see? Is it blackness? Is it dark? I'm about to burst some bubbles because it is none of that. Blind people see nothing. Let me try and explain what nothing is. I think the best way to imagine it is like, close your eyes and try and see out your elbow. You can't. There's nothing, right? That's kind of what it's like to be blind.
I still feel like that's so hard to imagine, because how do you imagine seeing nothing? They're like, imagine seeing through your elbow. How do I imagine seeing through my elbow?
We have a new update on this entire David situation that makes him look even more guilty than he already does. So in a new article from TMZ, it states that up at the top, David is making some real estate moves as cops investigate the passing of Celeste Rivas, who is the body that was discovered in his Tesla. Then at the bottom it states that he transferred 2 of his Texas homes to his mother. The article also goes on to state that this information was discovered in new legal documents obtained by TMZ. It also says the singer transferred the deeds of 2 Houston area residences he owns under a trust to his mother. Now it's very clear what David is doing. He is transferring his assets to his mother, so if a lawsuit comes up and he gets potentially sued, they can't take anything from him because nothing is under his name. It is under his mother's name, which they cannot take from her. I just feel like this is very telling, and I also feel like this is something an innocent person would not be doing, and it just really makes David look guilty. And he's just trying to save his assets in case he's taken to court and whatnot. So very telling once again. I'm curious to know your thoughts about it.
I kind of disagree. In my opinion, it's like, if you are innocent or guilty, people can still sue you, you know what I'm saying? As long as you're involved in a situation, they can sue you, even if you are innocent. So I think him doing that is actually a smart decision.
This is Worst Deaths Imaginable number 42, and it is very graphic, so viewer discretion is advised. Hello, true crimers. This is the story of Katarina Zawada. Katarina was a 23-year-old Polish student. She had a doctor's appointment scheduled on November 12, 1998, but she never showed up for it. She was supposed to meet her mother at that appointment, and it was very important because it was a psychiatric appointment. Katarina was suffering from a lot of issues with depression and other psychological issues, so when she didn't show up, her mother became concerned, tried to report her missing, but police said you have to wait longer. On January 6, 1999, a tugboat captain would uncover something very disturbing. Floating in a river that he was in was a long strip of kind of clear material, and it had a very, very bad odor. When he got close to it, there was a human ear attached to it. He pulled it on board, and it's blurred out, and I'm gonna kind of try to cover it here, but what it actually was an entire torso of skin. Just the skin. When police pulled DNA from it, the DNA matched Katarina Zawada. The police would then comb the river and they found body parts. They found her right leg. They also found articles of clothing. They never found the bulk of her torso or her head. Police quickly realized what the skin they found was. It was a perfectly formed skin suit. Someone did this intending to wear her skin. After years and years of investigating, in 2017, a man by the name of Whinging Robert J. was arrested for Katarina's murder. This man was apparently already on police's radar back in 1999, but for some reason, nothing came to fruition. What did he do to her? She was skinned alive. He took a sharp instrument, and while she was still alert and awake, he slowly cut the skin of her torso off of her. He apparently was an expert in skinning animals, so he just used the same technique on her. She allegedly was alive for most of the skinning process. She was then stabbed in her neck, her groin, and her armpit until she died. It was a sadistic torture murder. He also beat her severely and sexually assaulted her. And believe it or not, the man is still awaiting trial.
Dude, that was one of the most inhumane deaths I've ever heard.
A crypto influencer was just found in his Lamborghini after unaliving himself amid this historic crypto market crash. His name was Kosias Kudo. He was the CEO and co-founder of Cryptology, and he took his own life after losing $65 million of his investors' funds to futures trading due to Trump's 100% tariff announcement on China. This story is absolutely devastating, and I really hope he rests in peace, but what makes it worse is that this story is the personification of what can happen if you put all your money into crypto and irresponsibly overextend yourself using leverage. Think about it. This man was a very influential figure in the crypto space, and he was found unalived in his Lamborghini. His Lamborghini, one of the most mainstream status symbols that you can achieve to let everybody know that you made it in crypto, and he was found unalived in his Lamborghini because he overexposed himself and his investors to leverage. I really hope this story is a wake-up call for you that if you are not already doing so, please make sure that you are practicing safe investing principles and never put in more than you can afford to lose. And most importantly, never put too much emphasis on material things. Your life is way more precious than just crypto and money.
But yeah, I remember hearing about that story, and it's really insane that crypto crash completely took out a lot of people's money, like a lot of people. He said he lost $65 million of other people's money. Tragic.
How did humans survive the Ice Age? It sounds almost impossible, right? Back then, we were some of the weakest creatures around. No fur, no real protection, and it was cold. I'm talking brutal cold. Temperatures could drop below minus 40 degrees Celsius. Step outside in a blizzard, and you weren't just freezing. Your eyes could literally start to freeze if you kept them open too long. The only real option was to hide away in caves, sometimes for days, until the storm finally passed. But the cold wasn't even the worst part. You were being hunted. Saber-tooth cats. Short-faced bears standing over 11 feet tall. They'd come for you in the daytime. At night, packs of direwolves, each the size of a person, were tracking you through the snow. And food? Forget about farming. You couldn't grow anything. Every meal meant going out there, risking it all with nothing but stone tools and sharpened bones, praying you'd bring something back, knowing someone in your group might not return. And even if you made it through the cold, the predators, and the hunger, life was short. Most people didn't live past 30. At one point, scientists think there were only a few thousand humans left on the entire planet. Just tiny groups, maybe 20 to 50 people at most, scattered across a frozen world. It really was the hardest time in history to be human.
Okay, these Sora AI videos are actually getting out of hand. Not only do we have Jake Paul converting to Islam in one video, and then coming out as gay in the next.
An announcement in 3, 2, 1. I'm gay. I hope everyone here supports me.
But now both the daughters of Martin Luther King and Robin Williams are having to go as far as to beg the public to stop sending them AI videos of their fathers. Zelda Williams said that this is not what her father would have wanted, and these people are not making art, but rather disgusting overprocessed hot dogs out of the lives of human beings. MLK's daughter said, "I concur concerning my father, please stop this." Because, for context, Sora literally allows you to recreate MLK's world-famous "I have a dream" speech into this. But it doesn't stop there, because this week, major content creators now also speaking out against AI and Sora. Mr. B said that these were scary times and expressed concern on how this would impact millions of creators. Casey Neistat said,
"My analysis, we are so completely..."
And the YouTube channel Kyrgyzstan, in a nutshell, that has almost 25 million subscribers, they posted a video last night titled "AI Slop is Killing Our Channel." But where does this even end? I mean, Casey Neistat asked his own team if they would get sick of it, and they said this.
But you don't think people are gonna get sick of the fact that it's AI?
No.
What does this say for the future?
It's over. Yeah, it's over. Some people say it's a good thing, that it democratizes creativity, similar to how social media democratized entertainment and gave the power to the individual so that they can one day compete with the likes of Hollywood. But others, like Robin Williams' daughter, say stop calling it the future. AI is just badly recycling and regurgitating the past to be reconsumed. You are taking in the human centipede of content, and from the very, very end of the line. All while the folks at the front laugh and laugh, consume and consume. So the question is, chat,
They would pour layers of blood onto a knife positioned upright in freezing condition, and as the blood smell reaches the wolf's nose, the wolf would come and start sniffing and licking the knife blade, until its tongue becomes completely numb from the frozen steel. The wolf, in desperation for fresh, warm blood, licks the knife more aggressively, never realizing it's a trap, and ultimately bleeds out.
Okay, breaking news. Police have just confirmed that they have arrested streamer HS TikTok after a year-long manhunt. Here's what we know. So the UK police actually issued a warrant for his Harrison's arrest early last year after he missed a court appearance for dangerous driving. Now, he's accused of fleeing the scene after a car crash that left 3 people injured, and then he was later charged with using his phone while driving, driving without insurance, failure to stop after an accident, failing to report an accident, dangerous driving, etc. But bro isn't just accused of fleeing the scene, he's accused of fleeing the entire country for quite a damn long while. If he and when he would return to the UK, it was always inevitable that this would happen. So he was arrested on Friday, he appeared in court on Saturday, and then now he's been further held for another court appearance tomorrow. And the thing is, typically what he was charged for would often just end in, points on the license, a fine, but missing court dates and leaving the country could be treated as aggravating factors and, could come with additional, more severe consequences. But we'll see what happens tomorrow, and I'll keep you guys updated.
This is how Prince died.
Prince was seen as a king of pop by many, with his hypnotic guitar solos and wild stage performances that left entire arenas speechless. He sold over 150 million records worldwide and became the most influential artist of all time. But he was suffering at the top. Years of performing and dancing left Prince with chronic hip pain, and instead of surgery, he turned to prescription painkillers. By the mid-2000s, he was taking doses far beyond safe limits, and in April 2016, he suddenly collapsed on his private jet. That's when doctors first realized the extent of his addiction. Strangely, instead of stopping, his prescriptions were simply switched. And then only 2 days later, Prince was found unresponsive in the elevator. The cause was an accidental fentanyl overdose. At just 57 years young, he died. But here's where things get crazy. Prince had sung about elevators for decades, even calling them the devil. In his song, Let's Go Crazy, he said, "And if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy." Did Prince unknowingly predict his own death?
Right now, your brain is preparing for something it will only do once, shutting down forever. And the process is more terrifying than you think. 7 minutes after your heart stops, your brain experiences its final surge of activity. A massive wave of electrical energy floods through your dying neurons. It's called a death spike, and scientists have no idea why it happens. Your brain knows it's dying. Oxygen stops flowing. Cells begin screaming for help. But instead of quietly fading, your entire neural network fires simultaneously, one last desperate burst before the darkness. During these 7 minutes, your brain releases every stored neurochemical at once: dopamine, serotonin, DMT, the same compound that causes hallucinations. This is why people report seeing tunnels of light, deceased relatives, their entire life flashing before their eyes. Your brain is creating one final dream, a biological mercy mechanism to ease you into oblivion. But here's what's truly unsettling. Studies on rats show this death spike is stronger than any brain activity during life, stronger than deep sleep, stronger than dreaming. Your brain is more active while dying than it ever was while living. EEG readings prove consciousness doesn't vanish instantly. You're still aware, still processing, trapped inside a body that no longer responds. You can hear the doctors calling your time of death while your mind is still screaming. After 7 minutes, the spike ends. Neurons disconnect, synapses dissolve, and you, the electrical pattern that was your consciousness, simply stops existing. So when your time comes, remember, your brain will fight until the very last second. Then it will let you go.
So this con man pretends to be James Bond, basically, to get a woman to fall in love with him so that he can steal her money. Now, the con man's name is Mark, and Mark is 39 when this story starts, and he's living in England. And bro, he's always been a con artist. He's always taken on different identities and ripping people off, and because of that, he's been in and out of prison. But Mark, he doesn't seem to care. He just wants to make a lot of money any way he can. And so one day in 2012, he meets a target who's eventually gonna take him down. He walks into a clothing store to buy some clothes one day, and there he meets this woman, Carolyn. And Carolyn is the manager of the store. And Carolyn thinks he's kind of fine. And so they start talking, and they hit it off, and they start flirting, and soon they're dating. Here's the thing though. Mark, he doesn't tell her that he's a turd who's been in and out of prison for scamming people. Instead, he tells her that he's a wealthy Swiss banker. And he's always bragging about how rich and successful he is, and that he's friends with all these celebrities like Chris Evans and Nikki Clark. He even claims that he's spoken with Hillary Clinton and that he knows fashion designer Karl Lagerfeld. And I guess Carolyn hears all this and she believes that he's this rich, important guy, and she's all impressed. And Mark, he takes her on shopping sprees, and he's always talking about how he wants to buy an airfield to restore vintage planes. Okay, but the reality is, Mark, he's obviously not rich. He's not friends with any celebrities. In fact, he's a liar. And to make it worse, he's actually married to another woman, and they have 2 kids. And his real wife and kids live not that far away from Carolyn. So sometimes he disappears and Carolyn won't see him for a couple of days at a time because, he's with his first family because he's living a double life. Now, eventually, after seeing him vanish all the time without explanation, she starts getting suspicious. Like, where the hell's he going for days at a time? And Mark, he can probably sense that she's starting to get suspicious So in order to cover his tracks, he starts telling her that he has to leave so often because he's an undercover secret agent. He says he's actually working for MI6, the UK's secret intelligence service. That's literally the agency that employs James Bond. That's who he says he works for. Like he's fucking James Bond. Anyway, he tells her that the Swiss banker stories and the airfield stories, all of that is just cover for his MI6 missions, and that whenever he disappears for days at a time, it's because he's away on his super top secret assignments. And to try and prove it to her, one day Mark is with Carolyn, and he tells her that his boss wants to see him. And then he drives her over to the MI6 building. When they get there, Carolyn watches him walk past 2 armed guards and into an underground parking lot somehow. I guess he's trying to make it look like he works there. Now, I guess Carolyn's never met a real undercover agent before. So in her mind, this all checks out. So she believes him. Once she believes him, Mark now has a free pass to keep up his bullshit and disappear for days at a time without question. And each time, he'll then show back up at her place with some new excuse as to why he was gone. Like one time he shows up with his arm in a sling and he tells her he was working undercover in Syria and he got shot. Another time he shows up with his head all bandaged with a drain dripping from it. And he tells her he's got a brain tumor and that the MI6 is so worried that he's gonna spill state secrets that they got him under hospital guard, but that he somehow snuck out just to see her. I mean, he says all kinds of crazy shit. And poor Carolyn, she seems to buy into every word he says. And if that isn't bad enough, this is when he starts conning her out of money. Now, at some point, Mark tells Carolyn that he's tired of being an undercover agent. This MI6 life, it's no longer for him. He doesn't want to be James Bond anymore. Instead, he now wants to focus on real estate, like buying luxury properties. And Carolyn, she's supportive of this career change. I mean, anything that gets him out of danger sounds good to her. But then he starts asking her for loans. He tells her, "Dear, I'm having some cash flow problems and I need to renovate one of my properties. Could you help me?" And of course, Carolyn is like, "Don't worry, babe. I've got you." Now, Carolyn recently sold her house, so she has a bit of money in her savings. So she lends him £26,000. And over the next few months, she lends him more and more money, eventually in total giving him around £750,000, or about $1 million US. And of course, Mark, he doesn't use any of this money to renovate any real estate. He spends it on himself, on like nice cars and expensive rental properties. And he even uses some of it to pay for his kids' private school tuition. Meanwhile, he's still stringing poor Carolyn along. He tells her he's gonna marry her. He even buys her a wedding dress to prove it, probably using the money that she lent him. Then he convinces her to move into a luxury apartment she thinks that he owns. But in reality, it's a rental and he paid for it with her money. And by this point, she's like super in love, like she's in way deep. She quits her job, she moves in with him. But once she moves in with him, Mark gets real controlling. And he starts isolating her from friends and family so that they can't warn her about what's really going on or talk her out of giving him any money. And this goes on for months. But then, once Mark feels that he's drained her enough, he starts to pull away. And slowly, he stops replying to her calls and her emails, and he eventually ghosts her. And that is when Carolyn finally realizes that she's been scammed. And of course, she is devastated about this. In fact, she's so devastated that she even considers unaliving herself, and thankfully she doesn't. But meanwhile, Mark's scamming ass, he's already on the run. He eventually ends up in Spain, and there he just keeps conning people. This time he's like selling London luxury properties that he doesn't own to Spanish buyers. But after a few months of this, the Spanish police, they catch him, and bam, he gets arrested. And he gets convicted, and he's sentenced to 3 years in prison. So Mark is finally locked up, justice has finally been served, and he'll never commit another crime ever again. Until... Oh, come on, of course he's gonna commit some more crimes. While he's in prison, he applies for parole, and he's granted temporary release. on the condition that he surrenders his passport and stays in Spain. But of course, that's not what Mark does. As soon as he's out, he goes on the run again. Why do they even trust this guy? Anyway, so now the Spanish police are looking for him. Meanwhile, back in London, Carolyn reports Mark to the police because, he scammed her. So now Mark's on the National Crime Agency's 10 most wanted list. And so he's wanted in both Spain and Britain. And since he can't go to either of those two countries now, he decides to flee over to Switzerland. And there, he changes his identity and he sets up a fake company claiming to make black box recorders for driverless cars? That doesn't even sound like a real thing. But I guess people fall for it. He even brags that Elon Musk has invested $6 billion into his company. And with that bullshit story, he's able to scam someone out of 400,000 euros. So now he's wanted in Switzerland as well. Days later, bam, the Swiss police arrest him. And he eventually gets extradited back to the UK. Here's his mugshot. He then serves 2 years in prison there. After that, he has to go serve 2 years in prison in Spain.
That dude was literally a pathological liar. Like, I never understood people that could easily just be like, oh yeah, this and this happened, and it really never happened. That's definitely like a narcissistic type trait. And for everything he did, I feel like he deserved way longer than just 4 years.
That bug ate through the leaf of one of my plants, and I guess he really enjoyed it because he left me a like. It's the middle of June, longest day of the year. And it's snowing.
Snowing in June? Yep, that's totally a weather glitch, right? I'm back with new glitches. Do you believe?
The M's came off of the M&M's. It's hot.
Black ring or something.
What is that?
It's like, there's like smoke.
How is it raining with no clouds?
Yeah, I have no explanation for this one.
Never seen something like this.
These videos will be making you say, what the glitch? Because why does this bird look so fake? Weird.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is this normal?
And
that's
filled with Mountain Dew.
I mean Mountain Dew. I'm drinking.
My horses are frozen in time. Is this a glitch in the Matrix?
Today's February 18th, 2025. There ain't a lick of mold on this thing. And it's still soft.
Cornerstone of the counterinsurgency doctrine. When casualties along the cornerstone of the counterinsurgency doctrine.
Let's say the cops were following you.
Yeah.
Let's say they were following you and they did everything that you're
This mysterious footage was shared on social media by a pedestrian who filmed several people acting very strangely, walking backwards, and then start to pace back and forth along the sidewalk. More people seemed to join in the unusual activity.
Reality glitches caught on camera.
So my nanny passed away a couple of weeks ago and my mum has been clearing out her house. Nanny has a camera installed on the inside of her house, so it just faces her living room, her front door and her stairs. You'll see it in the next clips, but the past couple of days something really weird has happened. So no one else has a key to my nanny's house apart from my mum, so that's really important for this. So this is the first clip. Here's my mum leaving my nanny's house. This is around 30:30. And she doesn't come back until the next morning, so there's nothing on the floor, there's nothing in sight, specifically at the door there's nothing left there. So my mum leaves, doesn't come back, and nobody else comes into the house. This is then the next morning. My mum is so confused because there's a gift bag left at the door. Nobody has had access to this house. The Ring camera didn't pick up any motion in between my mum leaving and my mum arriving back with any person detected. So this is what was left at the door. She's so confused. She says she remembers leaving that bag upstairs.
Yeah, that video was hella trippy and all, but my main concern was like, what type of accent did she have? Because I was like, is that an American accent mixed with like an English accent mixed with like an I mean, I don't hear the Australian, but like English, like British and American.
I showed over 100 people, and I kept asking myself, how are all of us seeing the same thing?
Oh my god, it's changing shapes right there.
The laser was revealing numbers and letters running in a pattern.
They're almost like this big here, and it looks like code.
It looked like programming code.
It's definitely saying something, Pam. I just want to take a picture of it and translate it. Wow.
You see that?
Okay, so yeah, it's not stuck.
No.
It's not because of the light.
No, it's on its own side. Light is just literally revealing it.
And each angle shows you different layers, different ways through it.
I can see through the wall. It's not like a hallucination. It has spatial awareness and permanence. I don't know. Whoa.
For centuries, mankind has attempted to explore these psychedelic, altered states, but we've never had a repeatable, testable phenomenon to observe until now.
Wow. It's like you can see through the laser into another dimension.
I mean, like, take yourself to that. Like, I just made a connection that nobody made before, which is a simple connection. The claim is, if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you smoke DMT, you will see code running in surfaces. Yes, like in the Matrix.
Well, there are a few possibilities. One,
I lost my mind, which is the coolest losing your mind ever in history.
The second option is that
this is the biggest discovery of humankind. If anybody ever asked themselves what it would be like to know you live in the Matrix for sure, well, I know for sure. I'm convinced.
I'm not trying to downplay his findings, but he did say he smoked DMT. Well, that's kind of strange, but like at the same time, if he tested it on 100 people and 100 people are reporting the same things, that's kind of concerning, if I'm being honest.
The world ended in 2012. Well, a lot of people believe so. And not in the Hollywood fireballs and explosions way. No, they believe something far stranger happened, that reality itself shifted, and there is a good reason to believe so. The Mayan calendar didn't mark the end of the planet, it marked the end of the timeline we knew. Think about it, since 2012, doesn't the world feel off? Time feels faster, memories don't match. Small details, brands, movie lines, even history itself have changed. People call it the Mandela Effect, I call it leakage. Some believe CERN, in their hunt for the God particle, didn't just smash atoms, but smashed reality. They tore a tiny hole in the fabric of existence, and we slipped into a copy. A copy that looks the same, but isn't. That's why the world feels less real, more chaotic, more artificial. That's why every year since then feels like a fever dream. Maybe the original Earth is gone. Maybe we're the ghosts now, drifting through a simulation built to keep us calm. But the cracks are showing, and the more you notice them, the more unstable this fake world becomes. So go ahead, tell yourself 2012 was just another year, but deep down, you know something changed.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
Didn't they say our traditional calendar months and dates were just off because like we included and excluded months?
All right, I don't really even know how to put this, but does anyone know anything about this massive
energy wave that seems to be emanating from Antarctica. There's a video going around as of yesterday, October 12th, showing this powerful, huge circular pulse of energy, this wave that seems to be stemming from Antarctica, stretching like allegedly 6,000 miles north over Australia. It looks insanely powerful, and it is very odd, and I'm trying to get more information. I mean, some people say it's just a glitch. Some people say it's some sort of pressure system. Others are convinced it's something else entirely. We do know that Antarctica definitely has a very mysterious past. So whatever it is, it's strange. But if anyone knows anything or you've seen this actual data yourself, can you please tag someone or comment below with more information about it? Because it's really odd.
Glitches in reality.
What in the glitch is going on?
Okay, so I just found this floating house. I don't really know how this is possible. This is weird.
Reality glitches caught on camera.
I think my seagull barks. Watch this.
The moon's moving so fast, dude. How is this possible? I'm holding it still.
Guess they weren't lying on those flex tape bags.
这是你家庭生活当中上下水管漏水、水箱漏水、油箱漏油、燃气片漏水、彩钢瓦漏水、鱼缸漏水、空气铝不锈钢塑料陶瓷漏水。不要着急，不用慌，用咱家的焊接贴。
Can you see this real-life glitch? Stare at the plus sign in the middle of the faces. As you are looking at the plus sign, the faces on the left and right will start to distort into crazy shapes.
As I cannot believe this just happened. You have to try this. Trust me. Take a water bottle. Any water bottle, right? Just water. Fill all your pockets with AA's. That's very important. Literally every single pocket, just fill it with AA batteries. Grab one of these like big extension cords, put it on your neck, and grab a polo mitt, but keep the wrapper on. Don't take the wrapper off. Tuck it in the side of your cheek. Watch what happens. This is insane. Look. It just stops. Look, there's like no gravity.
Yo, if someone that's watching this video right now tries that, let me know if that works. I'm just sketched out, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't try that personally.
Dude, I just saw a video on Matt's phone, and I don't know who the creator is, so if you know who the creator is, tag them. But you can glitch in real life and freak people the freak out. Basically, you lip say what you're gonna say. So if you're gonna say hi, you go underneath your mouth right here, you go, hi. Hi. How are you? I'm great. How are you? Some form of puppetry. Hi guys, my name is Greg. And the end result is, hi. Or, hey, I'm a human glitch.
What the fuck is happening?
I'm losing my mind right now and I need someone to tell me if I'm crazy. Have you seen those videos where people are like, I'm stuck in the matrix, my life is glitching out? Can somebody please explain to me how I'm sitting here doing my little thing, making TikToks. I'm looking on my desk and I see this. What the hell is this? What is this? Because it looks like it's my nails, right? Girl, I've got all my nails. And I want to specify, this is the first time I have ever had this design. Ever. But that's definitely what that is, right? Even the other side of it looks like when you like rip acrylics off. The girlies know what I mean. Do I just throw this away and act like this never happened? I'm kind of really freaked out right now, but I'm trying to stay calm and like come up with some kind of solution as to why the fuck this would be here. Tell me that's not a nail. That is... Do I need to give this to the government for investigation? If you can come up with some kind of solution for what this is and convince me that it is not a nail, let me know.
Dude, what is up with all these glitch in the matrix TikToks that we watch? There's at least 1 or 2 girls that say they lost a nail and see an exact replica of the nail.
Lady caught glitching. Buffering entering car.
Out. Zoom in. Out. In. This is a freaking glitch, Mom. What is happening? The Matrix. Matrix. So exciting. This plane isn't moving. Like, it literally isn't moving. There's a glitch in the simulation, guys. Like, we were far away, and it's still in the same spot. Like, we're passing it, not them passing us. Look at it. That shit is not moving. Oh, now it is. It wasn't. It wasn't.
There. Taking a plane. Mírala, mírala. ¿Qué no es esa vaina? El viento.
I can't be the only person that saw this on NBC this week. A news report on June 25th, 2025. That and Hedge died.
This woman is freaked out because she says she is stuck in a matrix glitch.
I think I'm living in a simulation. I got this lamp a few days ago.
Okay.
And then I went to pick up my packages today, and there's another one. But that's not where it stops. I ordered a Domino's pizza today, and it arrived.
Okay.
And then an hour later, it arrived again. And I don't know what to do. I think I'm going.
Honestly, just consider yourself blessed.
If you weren't aware, this, not this neighborhood, but this lifetime is actually hell. You're in hell. This is not, that's why everybody thinks this is a simulation. This is hell. We live in hell. And you can be in heaven here within hell if you overcome everything before you die. But this is hell. Whatever you did to end up here, I must have done whatever it was too, because Earth is actually hell.
My opinion, it feels more like purgatory than hell. I don't know. I feel like you can genuinely enjoy life and be a happy person.
Someone please tell me what this is called. Watch this building right here. See how I back away and it's getting bigger? Like, what is going on? And then I get closer and it gets smaller.
Lettuce or something? What if you're here? It's not a bad idea. But I don't know if it's gonna attack us. I don't think it would. I don't think it doesn't have it. It literally looks like you. Yeah. Oh my god, that's so weird.
Whoever did this shit, you're kicked. You're kicked, alright? You're not coming back to the server. Never. You know the rules. You know.
Probably was like a SpaceX rocket. I wouldn't be surprised.
2025 just got even crazier, part 49. So, a 52-year-old woman living in the Netherlands has been experiencing a rare condition for around 40 years, where she would look at somebody's face and their face would slowly warp into a dragon-like face. And the scary part is, she said she stayed quiet about this for most of her life. Until everything became exhausting after people's faces were literally changing into dragons all the time, but apparently she did receive treatment and the hallucinations have nearly disappeared. Next, I'm sure we all know that in Nepal, Gen Z came together to protest the government's ban on social media they had in place and caused the Prime Minister to flee and resign. And Gen Z then held a whole election on Discord and elected the first female Prime Minister of Nepal, and she was elected on Discord.
I'm in the middle of doing my makeup right now, and my earring just dropped into my makeup bag that's literally been attached to my ear for like 30-40 minutes, and it fell into my makeup bag, and I was like, that's where my earring fell out. I wonder if the back's not on it, and I pick it up and it literally looks just like this. Like, and that one's on, and this one was on too. This is the first one I put on. Fucking glitch in the Matrix, bro. I wish I would have been recording.
Dude, it literally looks like she ripped her ear right here. Like, if you really look closely, you could literally see like the rip right here, dude. I don't know about glitch. I think you might just have injured your earlobes, gang.
I wonder if the back's not on it, and I pick it up and it literally looks just like...
Matrix is real, and life does glitch sometimes. I see people's glitch in the Matrix videos from TikTok all of the time, and these are the ones that scare me the most.
Let me tell you why I don't fuck with slides like this. And no, it's not what you're expecting. It's actually something that you're going to just immediately write off as a conspiracy or a weird dream, whatever. But this actually happened to me, so stay tuned. When I was 5 years old, my dad dropped me off for a choir trip with my children's choir from the church we went to, okay? And it was me and probably 5 other kids, as well as our instructors. We loaded up in her Suburban, and we drove for a good little while, like long enough that we watched the entire movie because of Winn-Dixie on the little movie screens in her car. We get to this place that is like a children's paradise, okay? Like, it had slides like this. It also had playgrounds just like this. Like, when I saw this picture, I just went... Because, like, this is spot on to, like, one of the playgrounds that was in this place. Like, I remember so vividly, like, climbing up this little side right here, going down these slides, all that stuff. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday. There was another playground in this place that was laid out exactly like this one, because I remember the ball pit being on, like, the little second level and thinking that that was so cool. I also remember the people that worked there telling the kids, like, don't throw the balls out, like, leave the balls in there. So you're probably thinking, like, what's weird about this? Like, this is a kid's place. Like, what's weird about this? You probably had, like, the time of your life. Like, what could possibly go wrong in a children's paradise like this with ball pits and slides and arcade games and prizes? Like, what could go wrong here? So during this trip, okay, we get there, we go buck wild, we're running around, and me and this little girl that I was friends with from choir, I've actually tried to remember her name more times than I can tell you, and I do not remember because I was so young. Me and her are running around, and we go to the slides that I showed you in the first clip. We get up to the top of the slides, me and her both take, like, we go at the same time. Like, I'm on this slide, she's on this slide, okay? We go down the slides, and as soon as I get to the bottom before she does, I turn around to look at her, and all of a sudden, this place went from packed with parents, kids, chaperones, employees, whatever, being loud like I was in the inside of a Walmart, to dead silent, all the lights cut off, and I am the only person to be seen in this place. Like, literally just boom, like, went from so loud to just silent. And I think, honestly, that's why I looked back, like, God, like, why did it just get so quiet in here? And as soon as I looked back, that was what was going on. I was completely alone. Like, it was like I went from this reality just to, like, right here. Like, I was in the same place that I was, but everybody was gone. I walked around this place for, like, a really long time looking for somebody, like, calling out to, like, the lady that was my choir instructor, like, hello, I walked around this place for what felt like hours, and then as quickly as I got upset, okay, I was getting, like, stressed out, overwhelmed, I started crying. I remember wiping my eyes, and boom, I'm right back where I'm supposed to be. It's loud again, my friend never left, but I remember this day so vividly.
Someone wrote this song
There's a 4-dimensional ghost inside CERN's particle accelerator. Scientists just caught it. In the superproton synchrotron, researchers finally measured a hidden force haunting the beams of particles. It isn't a spirit, but a 4-dimensional resonance, an invisible structure that pushes particles off their path, causing them to scatter and vanish. For decades, physicists suspected something was interfering, but it always slipped away from direct observation. But recently, using advanced beam monitors, a team led by Giuliano Franchetti recorded the position of more than 3,000 beams, carefully mapping where particles shifted and skewed. What they revealed was shocking. A resonance that exists not in the 3 dimensions we know, but in a 4-dimensional phase space. With these resonances, particles don't follow exactly the path we want and then fly away and get lost, Franchetti explained in Nature Physics. The danger is real. If these ghosts are not controlled, particle accelerators, the heart of modern physics, cannot reach the precision needed to test the deepest laws of the universe. Billion-dollar experiments could fail. This discovery is more than a breakthrough, it's a warning. The future of particle physics now depends on whether humanity can tame an invisible 4D ghost before it destroys the experiments designed to reveal the universe's secrets.
We sold nearly everything we own to sail on the Titanic. Mother says it's the start of our new life in America.
The sea air is brilliant. Father says we're making excellent time towards New York. What an adventure.
Dinner tonight is roast beef. It's the most splendid dining room I've ever seen. Mother says it's time for bed. It's freezing. I've never seen the sea so calm, like a mirror. What was that grinding noise? Mother! The ship feels strange. The engines have completely stopped. We have to get to the boats immediately. Look how slanted the deck is. It's hard to stand.
They won't let Father on! We can't leave him! Father! Please let him come with us!
She's gone. The lights went out. It's so dark. I can hear screaming. Mother, what about Father?
Dude, AI is too real, dude. AI is taking over crazy, man. If you guys like videos like that, I made a whole 30-minute video on just AI videos alone to see how crazy AI really is nowadays. Like in the 21st century, the AI videos are so real, it's kind of hard to tell what's real from fake. And it's actually kind of cool when they go back in time so you can kind of see the perceptions that probably played out in the time. If you guys want to see that video, I'm going to tag it right here. Check it out. It didn't get that many views, got like 5,000 views, but like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people liked it, so you might like it. Check it out.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe.